Good evening, everybody. It's Charlie, and welcome back to another video on the Chatting Leeds YouTube channel. Hope everyone has had a great start to the week so far. Just before we get into this one, as always, please make sure that you are smashing that like button. It really does help get the video out there to more people. Please subscribe to the channel if you are brand new and hit the notification bell. And of course, get all your thoughts and opinions into the comment section down below, and make sure that you're checking out the membership features on the channel as well. We are here tonight to preview Middlesbrough away tomorrow night, obviously at the Riverside. Massive game. I'm saying this on every preview now, probably, but especially with what happened at the weekend. With obviously Sheffield United losing as well. It's a big opportunity for Leeds United. To let the other two know that we are still in this. Even if them two win as well, as long as we keep winning, then we're still in that fight 100%, and we've still got it in our hands, so to speak. And that very much is the case still. I'm not gonna be ultra negative. I was thinking about it today, actually. I think on my most recent videos and streams and things, my head has gone. But I think the majority of us are in the same boat with that. It is a very frustrating and a very worrying time at the minute, given the leads that we did have in this run-in. For it to be evaporated within a few games is quite something. But the fact of the matter is, it's not over yet. We're only a point behind the top two. Anything can happen tomorrow night. Obviously, Burnley are away at Derby, which is not an easy place to go at all. And Sheffield United are at home to Millwall. I've seen Sheffield United fans. I was even speaking to a Sheffield United fan at work today who said, that he fears that they may be wobbling now, and it's crazy, isn't it? That each fan base, when they speak about the other teams, are a bit more complimentary, but if it's your own team, you feel it 100 times more. Obviously, I said to him, I said, I feel like we could be falling apart in terms of the performances. And he said, I think you're still in it and stuff. And I was thinking, it's crazy to think what the other two teams think of us, isn't it? Yes, they know that we've dropped points and that we're on a bit of a wobble at the minute. That's fair. But they both know, and they both still think that we are in it. And obviously we do with them. I think, it's either going to come down to Easter Monday when they play each other, or I think it could well come down to our last home game of the season, which is now on Monday night against Bristol City. I think it'll be decided before Plymouth. So yeah, that's the latest that I'll go. But anyway, like I said, we're here to preview Middlesbrough, who have had a very, very patchy season. Obviously, highlighted their season beating Leeds United in the Carabao Cup, only to then get knocked out 5-0 by Stoke in the next round at home. But at least they've got that amazing night out at Ellen Road in the Carabao Cup to look back on. Obviously, in the reverse fixture in the league, we ran out 3-1 winners on the night. We actually scored all 4 goals on that night, because their goal was a Max Ferber own goal, wasn't it? But overall in that game, I thought Leeds played well. Like I said, I think it suited us down to the ground that Middlesbrough actually turned up to play football and actually try and bring the game to Leeds. And I think in the end, our quality just shone through and we were able to pick them off nicely, which I hope is going to be the case again tomorrow. Difference now is that they are in form and we are out of form. But sometimes the out of form team can win in a scenario like that, and I hope that is the case for Leeds United. Obviously, Daniel Farke did his pre-match press conference earlier on today, where he did confirm that Pascal Struijk will, a minimum of the next 2 games, he will be out for, but they are going to assess the ankle injury that he has sustained. They said it could be a season ender for him, which would be a shame, as I think he's been playing well of late. But yeah, hopefully it is just the next 2. But if it is a season ender, it is disappointing. But I thoroughly believe that Ethan Ampadu will step in to play centre back tomorrow. People might say, yeah, but there's Max Verber there. I, sounds crazy. I would rather have Ethan Ampadu at centre back than Max Verber, if I'm being honest with you. I think we've seen at the back end of last season, we've seen it at points this season. Ampadu and Rodon can work well together as a centre back pairing. So I thoroughly believe that it will be obviously Carl Darlow in goal. I think the back four will be Jayden Bogle, Joe Rodon, Ethan Ampadu, and Junior Firpo. I think the double pivot will be Gruev and Tanaka. The three in behind, the striker. I mean, I would like to see Laji Ramazani come into play on the left, but after his comments about Laji today, I don't think that's going to be the case. Obviously, he said he needs to see more from him in training, and like the comment after the game the other day when he said, he isn't doing well enough in the duels. I was just thinking, he's not a defender. He's a creative flair player. He's one of your best attacking threats. Just play him. Or if you're not going to play him from the start, give him more minutes as a sub. You need to be giving him 20 minutes, half an hour to have any sort of impact on the game, and he's not. So, maybe his future will lie elsewhere after this season is over, regardless of if we get promoted or not, because he's been completely mistreated by Daniel Farke, in my opinion. So I believe the three in behind the striker will either be the same as the other day, so James, Nonto and Solomon, or I think if he's going to make any change, I think Solomon could be dropped, Nonto put out to the left, and Brendan Aronson in the 10. Obviously, Dan James on the right. And people are saying for Pat Bamford to play up front. I think it's absolutely ludicrous. To be honest with you, yes, he came on and did all right against Luton. Joe Perot scored 15 goals. My opinion is, if you had Joe Perot sat on the bench, it just doesn't make sense in my head. He's our top goal scorer this season. Yes, he was frustrating the other day, but he wasn't getting the right amount of service. I think Nonto was quite ineffective as well, but that's because it wasn't his sort of game. The game wasn't going at a pace that was suited to Willie Nonto. And I think the same goes for Joe Perot as well. So I think Joe Perot will start the game. Maybe Pat Bamford can come on and have an impact. Fine. But it's 2025 and people are calling for Pat Bamford. I just think it's insane. That was his first cameo since New Year's Day, and people are wanting him to just come straight back into the starting 11 with 6 games to go. I just find it insane, to be honest with you. But again, everyone has their own opinion, and that's why we all love football and why we all love Leeds United specifically, because it's a fan base full of opinions, isn't it? As we all know, but I would be sticking with Joe Perot. But I'll be honest, it would not surprise me in the slightest if we see Pat Bamford start. It would just be the most Leeds United thing ever. But yeah, like I said previously, that's my predicted 11, by the way, guys. We went on a bit of a tangent there. But Borough, obviously, they've got some good players. The likes of Finn Azaz. Obviously, they've got Iheanacho now. They've got Conway. Obviously, Luke Ayling. He wasn't in the squad for them on Friday night against Blackburn, so he may be injured. But I watched a bit of the game that they played against Blackburn on Friday night, and they absolutely tore them to shreds. They've had a very patchy season, like I said earlier. They're really inconsistent at Borough. They've had really good runs, but they've had really bad runs. At the minute, they're on a good run. I think Carrick's done well there. To be fair to him, I know he's ex-Scum, but I will give him that slight compliment. He has done a good job at Borough. He has them playing some good football. Obviously, signed Morgan Whittaker from Plymouth as well, who's kind of been in and out of the side from what I gather. So we know that they've got threats all over the pitch. But like I said earlier, in the reverse fixture, I think it'll be similar tomorrow. I think they'll actually come out, especially with them being at home as well. They'll come out and try and play. They'll come out and try and bring the game to Leeds United to push the pace, etc. But I think that could suit us. I really do think that could suit us. The last few teams that we've played have not really come to play football. Swansea aside, they pleasantly surprised me in a sense of they actually came to play, whereas I thought they would maybe sit in. QPR, I know they went 2-0 up, but we pegged them back to 2-2, and they did kind of sit back that day. And obviously Luton just turned up to kick the shit out of us, basically, pardon my French. But I think Borough will, a bit more of a technical side to what Luton Town are. So I think for the neutral, it'll be a good game to watch. For us, it will be an awful game to watch, of course. But like I said, guys, when I say I'm confident, I'm not, because we're not playing well at the minute at all. And if I'm taking my Leeds United hat off and, all Leeds United bias aside, I would say on paper that Middlesbrough should win this game. They're in better form, they're playing better, full of confidence, at home, against a team they hate, that they will definitely want to ruin our party even more. You would favour Middlesbrough if you're a neutral, I think, anyway. But Leeds United they're not just a poor team overnight. I think a lot of the issues that we're seeing at the minute are down to the lack of rotation from Daniel Farke, the reluctance to play our best attacking threat in Elijah Ramazani. He's only recently brought in Willian Ontomo. He's only recently dropped Ilan Melier. And I thoroughly believe, and I think Conor McGilligan might have said this on his channel, and he was right, we can slag Daniel Farke off for the lack of rotation. We can criticise his tactics. We can criticise his in-game management. But if you boil it down and deep it, if it had dropped Ilan Melier after Sunderland or after Hull, we would be well clear and we wouldn't even be discussing the rotation issues. And that's facts. We would be, and I'm being generous here, between 8 and 10 points clear at this stage, and we would be well on our way to getting promoted. That's the frustrating thing. If we had Michael Cooper, if we had James Trafford in goal, we'd be well clear by now. I've said it before, and I'll probably say it again, but it is true. It is definitely true. Which is the frustrating thing. But like I said, guys, we've got to try and keep the faith. There's still 6 games left. We are definitely in this fight at the minute as it stands. It's a good thing, all 3 teams play tomorrow. Obviously, Sheffield United and Burnley both kick off in their games at 7:45, and we kick off at 8. So they'll have that little bit of edge on us. I might watch maybe opening 10 minutes of their games, might flick between them before ours starts. But yeah, it would be interesting to see what Farke does with the team selection, if he does make any changes at all. I think we may see one. I've got a feeling he is going to drop Solomon. I have got a feeling that he will drop Solomon and put Nonto out left and put Brendan Aronson in. I do think he could do that. Obviously, Joseph's back from illness, but I can't see him coming in to start the game, obviously. But yeah, it's I'm trying to think of a score prediction, but I just cannot call it. I said we'd have too much for Luton, and we just didn't. We've definitely got it in us to go on a run. We have. And a win tomorrow could really be the start of that. I think if we get this over the line tomorrow, regardless of what Sheffield United and Burnley do, I think it could really be a turning point for us if we can get it over the line. I think it's going to be an awful game to watch. I think it's going to be tight. I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds, just like I said before, Luton. I'd like to think that we will hopefully have too much for them, especially going forward. So I'll go with a 2-1 win to Leeds United, and we will leave it there for this evening, guys. Really hope that you've enjoyed it. If you have, please make sure that you're smashing that like. It does help get it out there to more people. Share it with your friends, your family members, your work colleagues, anybody, your pets, anyone. And let's get more eyes onto the channel. Hit me up in the comment section down below with your thoughts and opinions, your score predictions, your predicted 11s. How are you feeling going into it? And yeah, hit the notification bell. I will get a review of the game out tomorrow night as soon as it's finished. So make sure you look out for that. And I'll be back on Wednesday night with a live edition of The Last Say. where we'll have a little brief look ahead to Preston as well. So, yeah, keep it locked at Chatting Leeds, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.